$250,000. And the government says, we're going to raise taxes on everyone who makes $1 million. And you say, that's not me. I only make $250,000. Last week I was in the crosshairs, but this week it's people who make $1 million, so they've obviously left me alone. All right, I'll just kind of creep off and let them raise taxes on people who make $1 million. The zero liability voter, the recipient class, the tax consumer, has an insatiable appetite. It never ends there. It's not like it's like Hitler promising to just invade one country. If the government promises or offers a progressive tax code to a voter and says, let's raise taxes on people who make $1 million, you only make $250,000. Tomorrow they're going to say, hey, you only make $175,000. We're going to raise taxes on people who make $250,000, and that guy's going to say, well, that's not me. $250,000, I make $175,000. And then they say to someone who makes $100,000, well, you only make $100,000. What about the guy that makes $175,000? And so forth down. Whenever you're offered the opportunity to pick the pocket in front of you, there's always someone behind you with your hand in your pocket. You can't go to Washington and say, we're going to do a slightly less crappy job. They have to start understanding that when government takes money out of the economy, when it takes it away from people, when it takes it out of the free market and doesn't let consumers choose products and services, we are saddled with services and products chosen by people who do not have the capital to purchase them. When you look at healthcare, when you look at anything, person A, person B works every time. It works every time. Because how are you going to argue against that? All the emotional arguments in the world, excuse me, again, I did a 3-hour radio show today, do not allow for a person who wants to disagree to algebraically line up any legitimate argument against it. If we are a free society and we have equal rights and equal protections under the law, how can one person receive something when another person provides it? That's not equal protection. That's wealth redistribution, health redistribution, whatever it is. And if we allow people to vote on progressive taxation, that's to say, you don't really own your stuff. You don't really own your income. You only have what you have until the government finds a substantial number of people who vote to take it away from you. That means private property is held in trust. You hold it until the government wants to take it. Now, why would anything I just said sound scary to anyone? New York, New Jersey. Now, I live in New Jersey now. I get the wrecking ball for a governor, and God, I love what he's doing. I absolutely love it. He had the best line to the teachers for me. He said, you're not helping the kids by refusing to contribute to your own health care. And I thought, I never saw that coming. I mean, I really thought I'd have to go long and far to get someone in Jersey to say that. When we look at what's happening right now in Washington, we are evolving a society where 50.1% of the people are either not going to be paying taxes or are going to be getting something called the Earned Income Tax Credit. You can't cut taxes on people who aren't paying any taxes. If you take money and you send it to Washington, or I should say, they take it from you, thanks to Woodrow Wilson, they take money from you, and it doesn't come back. You paid taxes. If you fill out the requisite forms, on April 15th, you mail them in, and then you get as much money as was taken from you, plus more, you're not a taxpayer. You think you are. It sucks that they withheld money from your check all this time. You probably could have used that. But at the end of the year, you feel excited. Like, look at all the money I got back. No, you just didn't pay taxes. And if you got more in return, you really don't pay taxes. Well, we're at the point now where Obama said the other day that all the arguments have been made. Well, I disagree. But I think all the insults have been hurled. I think the Democratic Party, I think the liberal left, I think progressivism is out of steam. If you look at every advancement in social media, online media, satellite radio, talk radio, wherever conservatives are discussing issues, talking, they're winning the day, every day. And that's what it's all about. Is saying to people, okay, so 40 years, you lived in this neighborhood. How many kids are going to college? You don't want school vouchers? Why not? Who should decide where your kid goes to school? You? Or that bureaucrat over there? Is that union teacher doing the job for you? Or should you pick your kid's school? How many jobs have to be lost in Cleveland, Detroit, Buffalo? Saying, do you know this used to be my grandfather, an immigrant who came to this country with nothing, owned a factory on 26th Street, West 26th Street. He started out as a cutter. He pulled together some money with other immigrants. They bought a factory floor. He bought them out. He bought the whole factory. This town used to be a manufacturing town. If liberal and progressive policies are so wonderful for job creation, why is it jobs always seem to creep away and migrate away from wherever liberals and progressives are in charge? Why is that? Because it's the opposite. Now, unfortunately, I know people think conservatives want to see suffering by their fellow man. We don't take suffering lightly. You look at the most generous people on earth. They're conservative Republicans. There's a book out called Who Cares? By the now president of the American Enterprise Institute, who had a sort of David Horowitz left to right shift. He was raised by liberal university professor parents, taught Syracuse University himself, and after 10 years of studying the giving habits of liberals and conservatives, he found that the more faith, the more conservative, the more Republican they were, the more charitable they were. And he found that liberals were more smug. So it's not that we want to see suffering by our fellow man. We are communitarians by choice. You can't coerce someone to be compassionate and call it compassion. If the government orders you with the threat of forcing you to reject, you're not being compassionate. You're scared.